My name is Kayla, and welcome to Tips and Tricks Tuesday, where I'll be showing you all of the latest tips and tricks in PV Farm. Today, we're going to talk about metrics. So how do we get metrics out of PV Farm? So for this entire layout, I can see what was generated with my last generation, but you can see that as soon as I make a change, it says update the layout first and takes away that DC amount. So where do I find this information? There's several places. So if I go into my project and go to overview, you'll see that there's tons of project metrics for the entire project. I'll see my equipment counts, I'll see my energy and my DC total, and any civil amounts that were generated. Now, this is going to show me for the total project. If I have sub areas in this project, I could pull them up and have different columns for each sub area, but I don't have them in this. I just want to be able to pull these individually. So let's say I'm really concerned with this area and I want to be able to pull my quantities. I can now click on this boundary, open my object details, and look at my boundaries properties. There's a new property here called quantities. So if I hit calculate, it's going to calculate all of the quantities detected in this area. So I can look at how many modules I have, what my DC total is for each of those module types, roads, trenches, terrain. All of that is what is being calculated just in this area. Now, this isn't only for boundaries that I use to generate this layout. Let's say I want to know what this collection right here has. I can draw a new boundary. Just quickly throw this in here, select that boundary, open up those object details, hit calculate, and it's still telling me those values of everything it detects within the boundary. So it'll tell me this boundary and this boundary combined, what those quantities are. Now, since the quantities calculated are a property, that means I can now pull that information up in my custom report. Now I've opened up my custom report. I filtered by boundary type, and I've selected the row group as, in this case, ID. If I had named them specifically, I could sort them by their specific name. Then in my filter here, I'm going to type quantities. So I can see all of the quantities that are available to me, and I can turn on the columns that I think are relevant. So for example, if I want to pull in the DC total for each of those areas, I can just turn those on. And now we see that it is generating those DC totals as columns going across, and it's telling me within certain boundaries what is calculated in there. Notice that not every single boundary will have that, as some of the boundaries in here are exclusion zones or inclusion bridges. There's a couple different random boundaries in here, so I would want to filter those out maybe if they don't have what's in there. Next, I can pull up whatever other relevant information I want, maybe my transformer counts, my inverter counts, my combiner boxes, all kinds of information. Anything that is being generated in that quantity can be pulled up and made into a column here for me to create this custom report. Once I'm satisfied with the information, maybe I'll get rid of some of these. I can then come up to the top corner here and I can export to Excel, and I can use this in any of my deliverables going forward. By pulling these quantities, you can be sure of your early stage estimating values and continue to create deliverables using PV Farm. I hope this helps. I'll talk to you next time.